So for the last month, I've been experimenting with Kadour Ziani's 7 Postures. His book is a great book. Go check it out. You can get it on Amazon. I also went through his app, then went through the YouTube, digesting all of what he's talking about, how he's doing the different postures, how he's using them, what he's using them for. And so I started using them for myself. Part of what led me to this is I sprained my ankle quite bad. So I wanted to rebuild it, see what I could do differently than what I have in the past to see if I could get faster results. Did I get faster results? How does it go? I'll talk about that in the video. This is gonna be a live session of me going through the 7 different postures and giving you a little bit of variations that I've used, my favorite ones, things like that, just a general overview. So if you're completely new to this, then watch, love it, start doing these. One of my favorite things about this is now when I'm able to do work at home, which is where most of my work is done, I'm able to sit on the ground very comfortably and move from position to position without any hindrance, basically. And this is how I think all of us should eventually be. There's different levels to it. He has some positions that I still haven't been able to achieve, so I want to get there. But let's get started. No need to waste time. We'll start with the first one, which is the cat. So the cat, do it in the morning like this, pull the toes, hold it in. I just lay in bed on my back, basically. Just pull into this position. I have a board right there, so I can just chill like this. Imagine that's a pillow, and then I go to the other foot, hold it very shortly. When I'm in the gym, I like to do it on a bench or something a little bit elevated. So I'm here, and then pull the toes, same thing. And then that back leg pushes up, and I can push into it a little bit deeper. I'm gonna hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. While I'm doing that, opening up that Achilles. So this left ankle is the main one that I'm going to focus on while I'm doing these. This left ankle is the one that I sprained quite bad. So there's lots of positions in here that have allowed me to open up the ankle. This is a big one as it opens up the Achilles, but also all this stuff on the medial side of the ankle gets really tight when you get a sprain over the outside because it tightens up. It's been huge opening up my dorsiflexion and letting it basically move better, getting me back to sports really quick. And again, there's other stuff that I've used, but this is just about the 7 postures. So that's the cat. The most advanced cat that I'll do is on something like this, which, let me see how I get on. Typically, I have boards below me, but I can do it like this. So here, and then this foot comes up, and then I have all the weight almost sinking down and in. And if I really want to make it advanced, I can hold on here, go through, and then that other leg sits, and then I drive forward. So I actually really like this one, where I'm just sitting here. Toe, big toe is pulled up with that hand. It's a little bit hard to see, but here, big toe goes in, pulls up, or hand goes in, pulls up the big toe. So this is the cat. I'm just getting comfortable right here. I can even push through the toes. There's some different movements that I can do. But that is the most advanced of the cat. So that's the first one. Then move on to the cow. So cow right here. I also call this a tibialis stretch when we're doing it this way. Stretching the top of the foot. One thing that I learned and I started doing as I was watching him is shifting the hips. How I coach this one is basically putting the heel into the butt crack and then shifting back to the other side. You're thinking of the hip shift, moving back and forth. Feels really good on, so when I shift to the right, this ankle rolls out and then it rolls back. So it kind of massages it on the ground. The other level of the cow is where you're stretching out the plantar fascia. And you can be doing the same things where you're shifting back and forth. For this variation, I actually like it better just to walk. So moving back and forth here and there. Using weights, you can level up the cow position quite a bit while you have your knees on something like this, where your waist can go outside. You can go down, coming back up. The other thing I really like to do with this is I'll have my hands on something and lean all the way back, and then go up, come down, and then go back. So if you're on the flat floor, it can be a little bit harder, but moving the hips, flexing the glutes while you're doing this puts a lot of load through this ankle. As I lean back, then I go back forward. Again, you could do that in both variations. So also with the toes up. You can see it there. Leaning back, keeping those knees down. And then this one, even harder to go down. Flexing, whenever you go down into that position, we'll talk about this a little bit more on some of the later postures. You're flexing your hips and your abs, guiding you through into the position down here and then back. So this one, actually a huge, almost ate it. It was a huge help for me when I had plantar fasciitis. After I started getting blood flow to it, started opening it up to get range. Also, when I got turf toe from playing soccer, I jammed my toe, somebody else's foot while I was shooting, bent up the toe. Getting back into that position, super beneficial. It does hurt sometimes. It doesn't always feel great, but it's just like stretching. When you're opening up new positions, the tissues kind of freak out a little bit. So there's other ones that you can do with those. Those are the ones that I've used the most for the cow. And now on to the frog. So how the frog works is I always have people hold themselves forward before, and then eventually getting comfortable to sit down sideways. So straight on, we're here, getting comfortable to sit. We can just hold this for a minute. A lot of the time, it's very beneficial to hold this for a minute, just getting comfortable here. What we're aiming to do is flex the abs and the hip flexors to pull yourself in forward and into this down position, and you can come back. So this is where you start moving. Just give you this example. You're here. So moving there. And then we can grab under, go up, and even do little bits of elephant walks or straighten all the way out and then go back. About 10 of these will open up your hamstrings to a new level. Audio might have been funky there, but it'll open up your hamstrings to a completely new level, and it will probably make your lower back quite a bit sore. You're putting a lot of load through it. For the calves in this frog position, I really enjoy seated, or you can call them seated calf raise, but squatted calf raise, or pushing up and coming back down. Feet a little bit closer. You'll see my feet shake. There's strength gains that I still need to build. This is a very new one for me, but I'm holding all the way up, and I can even hold this position. Can balance in this position just a little bit, holding those heels as high as possible, flexing the core, stabilizing everything, controlling back down. When I control back down, I typically need a little bit of help. That's just the level I'm at. The other way that I'll do this is with the slant board. So beginner wise, you can always do slant board here and then sit. This is fairly easy for me because dorsiflexion is one of my weakest areas. So that's where the knees are going over the toes. So as this board goes away, the knees have to go over the toes quite a bit more. But you can also do the frog against the slant board, aiming to keep the heels low, but they'll float, and then holding this position. While you're here, get quite a bit of stretch through the back of the calves. So here it's gonna try to pull you down, so a lot of the time you need help. And then doing calf raises like this, the stretch in the toes is quite extreme. So I would get comfortable with the cow where we're stretching the plantar fascia before you're doing something like this, but you can work through it. Again, you could see the shakiness. It's just range that I need to train, get better at. Just pulling through. So neurologically, it's not safe there for me, but holding the shake, really beneficial. And it's like an electric chair, I guess, but just kidding. Using that shake though is really beneficial, and it will start getting you more and more comfortable in these weak positions. A lot of the time it's adapting the tendons as you go through it. So from there, we go to the camel. The camel is my favorite position. So for the camel, we're here, the base version, just going down, holding this position. This is a big one where we're learning to flex the hip flexor, which is here, and the core together. So closing the gap between the knee and the abs. And then this back ankle is angled. That's a mouthful. Back ankle is angled to the side, inside. So look here, it's rolled on the inside. So it's kind of like if it was rolling outside, you're stretching the peroneus longus, which is typically really tight. And if you look at the chain, ties right up into the IT band. So a lot of times the problems can come from the bottom in the ground and then come up. So we're here, stretching, getting comfortable, flexing the core. I really like to use the cat and add the cat posture to this, where you're pulling up the toes and kind of leaning forward. So if I don't have a lot of time, I'll do this one, and it gets the cat, it gets the cow, and even a little bit of the frog. Other variations of this that I'll do is, one is probably my favorite, is actually sitting more weight on this back ankle, my right leg, and then moving this other leg on top. This one is quite rough, especially if you're on hard ground on this back ankle. It's like a massage, but you're also getting a glute stretch. And then you can move forward. This is more like the gorilla, which we'll talk later. And it stretches out this glute. And I can also, got to massage the ankles to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. But I can also work to just balance here and see how long I can balance. This works the core a little bit. And I can pull this all the way through, stretch out the peroneus on this side as well. So this right here, actually I've spent a lot of time getting comfortable. Again, you can see the ankle after that. It's got like marks on it because there's so much weight. But the camel, super, super valuable. You can also do the camel with weight. So while we're here, if we had 1 dumbbell, 2 dumbbells, either one works. You can go through, we can go here. All of this is going to be really beneficial, and it starts to open up this back ankle. Something that I see a lot of people do is only work the front leg. So while you're here, just make sure I'm not kicking stuff. So while you're here, that front leg is doing all the work, almost like the back leg can come up. That's fine. It's more like a pistol squat, but ideally, we're actually getting that back ankle to push into the ground, getting weight onto it, and opening up that ankle, getting a little stretch through there and strengthening it. So as you go through those reps, it becomes really valuable. You can do like 10 reps of those. Be like, ooh, that gets your core, it gets your ankles, gets your knees, gets your whole body. And since you're holding the weight, you could even get your arms, but hopefully that doesn't affect your arms too much. So that's the camel. After camel, these names are great. There's reasoning behind them. Generally, I'm not talking about the reasoning, but if you want to know more about it, it's all in this book. So we got camel. Grasshopper is the next one. So grasshopper is like a mix of the cow, but it's here and 1 foot is up. I do use this one the least, but it is still valuable, and it really digs in to this foot where you're here, really resetting that toe and kind of rebuilding the ankle. So switching is a way I like to use it, and you're just kind of bouncing back and forth. Over here, you can do this with weight as well. And also, you're here, you can, do more like a pigeon variation where you're standing up here and then rotating the hip. This variation I really like to start teaching the right hip to rotate in and then rotate back out, sit, and then back up. A lot of work is going into that back toe as well. So for that one, I know this is quick. It's because I use it the least. It's not a negative one, but it's just one that I haven't found to change as much. I like the cow a little bit better where I'm here. And then I'm able to push kind of into both, and then I'll do both pushing back. So I guess I use it. It's just not as separate as the other ones. They're all combined. If you look at the positions that I'm doing with all of them, they are all fairly similar, but hit a little bit of a difference with each one as we go through it. So just to recap, we got the cat, the cow, the frog, the camel, the grasshopper, and now we go into the pigeon, and then the last one is gorilla. So for the pigeon, it's Very similar to a normal pigeon where you're here and here, except this back foot is gonna be pushing into the toe. So we're sitting up here, sound box, there we go. So we're sitting up here, and then we can bend down this way. The thing with the pigeon is any different position you do it in is gonna change how it feels in the glute or the hamstring and the toe as well. So ideally you can kind of control through each position without your hands. This back position I have the most difficulty doing, but that's also just because of the angle as it goes through. I don't know anyone who could rotate this much and go down without falling down. But using your hands, super valuable. And then we can go back to the other one. If you look at the angle of this, it's very similar to what I was talking about with the grasshopper, where we're here, and then we can even sit up, move in, move out. Very similar. We're building through, sitting down. Oh, that feels good. Rotating the hips. You can also push through there. I was gonna show you the exact same one, but basically I like to rotate back and forth. So it's here, and then we push the toes back, and it's here. Woo, falling. This one is difficult. And as you can see, my hips aren't perfect, but they're much better than they were when I started. Hips were my weakest area when I started doing any training because I had so many groin strains from soccer. My glutes were also all wiggity waggity. So as I go through these, it shows me where I still have a little bit of weak points, which is why I suggest people go through different systems, because each system will show you a little bit of different weak points, and then we can build out as we go through that. The last one is the gorilla, and this combines all of them together. So you can use basically any of the ones that I've talked about, but use it dynamically. So the pigeon and the gorilla are the most closely related, you could say. So we're here, right? You can go up, you can go back. You can also do this with one hand. It's a little bit difficult, but here, shifting hands. Just don't want to kick my feet. As you do this more and more, you can even push to there and then push up. That looks super uncoordinated, but it can be done as you do it more and more. And then getting this to a position where you're doing it on a little bit of an incline. So we're here, for example, you can shift. It gets the whole body into it. The passive version I really like is on a super high table or bench, and a reverse hyper is actually my favorite because you can sit here, you'll see me through the mirror, pull this up, and then sink down. It's more like a standing piriformis, but I use the back leg to move around, sink, and then it drops under. So dynamically moving through there. This is more of the pigeon. And then you can shift up and rotate and go again. So all of these come together. And now that you understand what I'm talking about, I give a little bit of my feedback on how I feel with it and how I move. I feel like my feet are more open than they've ever been. The toes especially, as I go through it, you can see them there. The endurance, you could say, in the feet as well, to hold different positions, almost cracked my toes, is way stronger than it used to be. So the feet have gotten a lot stronger. That's a super great thing when it comes to living life, because if your feet are stronger, the rest of your body has to take a lot less load. So I'm going to continue doing these things. Now I do believe that supplementing them with a lot of the ATG base that I use becomes very beneficial. And I don't believe Kadour says anything against that. And when you look at his other programs, he does use a lot of different movements. These are just the base of the movements. And it's not always something that you use in a training session, but it's something you use in daily life. So the more you can use it while you're doing work, if you can sit in your chair and you're at a desk, your chair's big enough and you can sit like this, you're gonna get passive gains while you're working, and it's not distracting whatsoever. Now, if you can't get to that position, it's gonna be distracting. So maybe you need some sessions in the gym getting to those positions, but they continue to develop and move. One of the biggest things that inspired me with Kadour stuff is he was sitting basically in a squat, and then he just pushed up, pushed his feet, and then kicked out. I can kind of hold that position now. I had no range. I didn't have any core contraction that was even close to being able to hold it. I'll go one more time. But now doing stuff for about a month, I mean, I'm there. I'm a pretty heavy guy, so some of these body weight feats are not always the easiest, but there and then coming back. So I'll be doing that again. You'll be like, oh, now we can do that a lot easier. All this core stuff really ties in, and with the acrobatics that I've been doing, it's making it even easier. It's helping rehab the ankle. So would definitely give this a try. Do these postures, look at this stuff, and continue to grow. That's the most important thing with everything that comes to training. The more ability you can gain, more ability you can build, the better life's gonna be, the more you're gonna feel able to be alive each day and enjoy it, you know? So if you have any comments, put them down below. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments, because that makes sense. And like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.